Hello, everyone. Welcome to Show Point today for Tuesday, February 16th. I'm Adam Brown. On today's show, we will learn about this week's Academy class with Adrian Kerr on the Middle East turmoil, and a medical breakthrough seminar on skin cancer coming next week. But first, we want to remind you of tomorrow's Investment Roundtable presented by Finemark Bank. This will be an open forum discussion about the markets and the economy with several investment experts on hand to answer your questions and offer helpful advice. They will discuss market concerns, asset allocation decisions, long and short-term concerns in the economy, buying and selling, and how much risk you are taking in your portfolio. The Investment Roundtable will take place in the Manatee Room on the island from 10 until 11 a.m. tomorrow. This month, the Aviation Club is heading off property. On Thursday, they will be flying, by automobile of course, to the Southwest Florida International Airport. Members will get a first-hand look at the TRACON facilities. Now, TRACON stands for Terminal Radar Approach Control, but you probably already knew that, right? Anyway, it's going to be a fun and informative trip that is sure to heighten your senses. But you must reserve a spot by calling Joe Clank of Royal Bonnet at 690-7758. The cost of the trip is $10 and departs at 12 noon. Another club meeting taking place Thursday is the Computer Club. Mike Peterson will present part 2 of his presentation, What Computer Technicians Wish Their Customers Knew Before Calling for Service. He will highlight frequent service calls and provide knowledge to help prevent them. The Computer Club meeting will take place in the Manatee Room Thursday at 2:15 p.m. And finally, something else happening Thursday is an Academy class. Professor Adrian Kerr will school us all about the turmoil in the Middle East. You'll step back in time to understand the history and culture of the great powers that have ruled the region. Key historical events that led to the political and religious turmoil that still exists today will be examined. And come and learn why this region is torn by such political unrest and conflict and seen by many as the most volatile part of the world to this day. Here's Teri Kollath and Professor Kerr to give us a preview.
Hello, I'm Teri Kollath. I'm here today with Professor Adrian Kerr, and we're talking about a program he's doing for us on Thursday night, February 18th, and he's going to bring us up to date on the Middle East turmoil. Thank you for joining me, Adrian.
It's a pleasure to be here again at Shell Point, Teri.
Well, you started this right back with the first Arab Spring. You brought us information that we were just so hungry for about not only why we came to the situation we're in the world today, but how we came to it. And since then, it has just gotten more and more and more complicated.
That's a very good summary. 4 years ago, we thought we had seen a major shift towards democracy and away from totalitarian, corrupt tyrants. How wrong can you be? The story has to go back in history to some extent, because this didn't just occur. If you look from the helicopter down at the Middle East, then you will see a region which has been the most fought over part of the world since time began. Of course, it's the cradle of civilization. So the original Egyptians and Mesopotamians, and then the Hittites and the Babylonians all fought over the Middle East. Then we come through to Roman times and Parthian times. The Persians, of course, dominated the area. But I'm going to jump through a lot of the ancient history, which is of interest but not directly relevant, to the time of the Ottomans, because the Ottoman Empire, which is not very well remembered by people in the West because it didn't impact us in the United States, they dominated Southeast Europe, North Africa, and Middle East for 500 years. And they suppressed the Arab desire to be ruled independently. The Ottomans were considered by most historians to be ruthless, brutal, and they put down revolts in a very bloody way. So for 500 years, the Arabs were pretty badly treated by the Ottomans, the Turks today. And then something changed. The First World War. The Ottomans chose the wrong side. They chose the German side, and the war resulted in them losing a majority of their empire. If it wasn't for Kemal Ataturk, who in 1920 single-handedly created the modern state of Turkey, which, by the way, is becoming less modern as we speak, thanks to the new Prime Minister, President Erdogan, who wants to take it back to pre-Ataturk days. That's a part of the story we're going to talk about. But all of a sudden, the Middle East was open to the colonial powers, mainly France and Britain, to carve up the ancient Middle East, which was part of the Ottoman Empire, into individual kingdoms, and who should run those kingdoms. And we did a pretty bad job. We let tyrants and, not always, but we let people run those countries, which eventually the kings were removed, apart from in Syria, of course, and despots, warlords, took over in Iraq and elsewhere. And so the issue of the Arabs themselves living under now an Arab control, but no longer the big giant hand of the Ottomans controlling them, has led to many revolts and changes of government over the years. Overlay on that the issue of Israel in 1947, and you introduce a real cooking pot of potential problems. And the story can be abbreviated, as we're hoping to do, to talk about the impact of the various wars between the Arabs and Israelis, the impact that has, the effect of oil, the interest the United States and the West has in the Middle East, then the impact that, of 9/11, which was the next turning point. If you like, the first turning point was 1918. The next turning point was 1947, the State of Israel. If you look, history will then say the next turning point was America's involvement in the Middle East in a military way post 9/11. And that involves us in Kuwait, in Saudi Arabia, and Iraq, and then the fall of Saddam Hussein.
And it occurs to me, as you said earlier, none of this really had an impact on us, so we didn't really pay a lot of attention to it. It's home now after 9/11. And what's happened since then? Who are these people and why are they like this?
Well, there's a famous statement from an ambassador who said, America went to the Middle East seeking monsters. We found some, we bred some more, and some followed us home. And that's a very good, succinct view of what's happened in the last few years and some of the issues that we're contending with, not only in the United States, but also in Europe.
Sure.
But we will talk specifically at this session on the growth of ISIS. How does ISIS emerge from this picture and what's its future? And then we'll also talk about Iran and what its agenda is post the nuclear peace agreement. And we'll talk about Syria, and we'll talk about Turkey. And of course, we can't help but talk about the dreadful human situation where the Syrians have left their country and have migrated as far as the United States and Europe.
As far as they can go.
Overwhelmed Jordan, overwhelmed Lebanon. It used to be a Christian country, 55% Christian. Now it's 45% because of the influx. They're not going to go home. So the whole of the Syrian ISIS situation has thrown all the cards up in the air. And 4 or 5 years ago, we were wearing rose-colored spectacles thinking that democracy was going to get established in the Middle East. We have seen a very different set of circumstances.
And who are Sunnis and who are Shias? And I just can't wait to have another perspective on this. And we just knew that we would have more and more information for you to share, didn't we?
Sadly, yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you join us. Please sign up at either service desk, and we will join Professor Adrian Kerr for a current look at the Middle East turmoil.
Another fascinating medical breakthroughs and discoveries presentation is coming later this month on the 25th. The topic is skin cancer, emerging targeted therapies for melanoma. It will be presented by Dr. Ryan Sullivan, an oncologist of Massachusetts General Hospital, along with a panel of other experts on the subject. Heather Battey visits with Sharon MacDonald from Lee Memorial Health now to talk about the concerns of skin cancer and more about the medical breakthroughs presentation.
Hi, I'm Heather Battey with Resort Services. Today I'm here to talk about our next upcoming and exciting medical breakthrough and discovery series. This is a really interesting topic. It's skin cancer, melanoma. The topic is very, very interesting to a lot of people. It's caused a lot of alarm, and we have Sharon MacDonald here from Lee Memorial Health Systems to discuss this with me. So thank you, Sharon, for being here.
It's my pleasure.
So this is really kind of a scary subject for people. We're hearing about skin cancer more and more.
Yes, I mean, skin cancer is really the largest cancer diagnosis in the country. There's more skin cancer diagnosed on an annual basis than with prostate, colon, breast combined, and we don't hear very much about it. It's kind of like the silent killer, the unknown or undiscussed cancer. But there's really three kinds of skin cancer. You've got basal cell, squamous cell, and then you have the most lethal, which is the malignant melanomas. And in today's world, 1 in 5 people will have either a basal or a squamous cell carcinoma removed, and 1 in 50 people will develop a melanoma in their lifetime.
Why is it so much more prevalent now? We know when I was growing up, or possibly when you were growing up, we would lie in the sun. And now, though, we're hearing more and more about this. Was it not as prevalent, or was it not discussed, or what's changed?
It wasn't as prevalent. It certainly occurred, but it wasn't as prevalent. We have things like global warming. We have people spending a lot more time in the sun. There's that old saying, old dogs and Englishmen lay out in the noonday sun. And we see people just basking, worshiping the brown body, not paying attention to sunscreens and the things that will protect the skin if you want to be out in the sun. And really, it is something, it's a preventable cancer. It's a tragedy when someone develops it and dies from it. And it really is a personal responsibility to make sure that we are properly protected when we go out into the sun.
Right. How fast is this type of, the melanoma, like how fast is that type of skin cancer, does it spread, or that cancer?
Sometimes it can spread pretty quickly, and sometimes it can occur very quickly. There have been cases where someone just, in the run of a few days will look down and see a black spot or something occur on the arm that wasn't there before. And when they go and have it biopsied, it turns out it's a malignant melanoma. So the cellular changes can occur quite quickly. If you have had 7 burns in your lifetime where your skin is actually burned and blistered, it can raise your risk of melanoma as much as 40%. So the important thing is not only the skin protection, but also you want to make sure that you have your skin checked. The other thing is if you have a family member that has had a malignant melanoma, there is a small percentage that have a familial or hereditary portion to them, and that would mean that your surveillance would be pushed up to every 6 months, so that you have family members to make sure that if there's anything there, it's diagnosed and early, because surgery is your big cure for melanoma, cutting it out.
Right. At what age would you start then going to get your skin checks?
Most of the time when you go to your physician is, depending how much you're in the sun. But if you're a physician, you go for an annual physical, the physician should be looking at your skin. And if you are a particularly moly person, because we have people that have a lot of moles, those are the folks that it's even more difficult, because they need to be really familiar, map their moles so that they know if there's new ones that are occurring that are not familiar. And if there's anything that you're concerned about, you should ask your physician to look at it and if necessary, have a biopsy. Right.
And now there are some new treated therapies or targeted therapies for melanoma.
There are a lot of the new therapies in cancer in general are coming out with immunotherapies, which are ones where they're personalized. They take your own cells and they create the vaccine, or they create the therapy from your own cells. And so immunotherapies are becoming, and personalized medicine are becoming the mainstay actually of the drive to eradicate cancer.
Yeah, and we do have then Dr. Ryan Sullivan. He's an oncologist coming from Mass General, and he'll be doing this presentation as you moderate this panel of experts and our presenter talking more about this subject. It's going to be really interesting, I think, for a lot of people to hear all these facts and the figures and just how many people can come down with this type of cancer.
Yes, Dr. Sullivan is one of Mass General's leading physicians when it comes to the diagnosis and management of malignant melanoma, and he's coming from the #1 hospital in the country. So, he will have a lot of great information and certainly a lot more about the research and the new therapies coming out than I would be aware of.
Okay, great. Well, I look forward to seeing him and seeing you at that presentation. And if you're interested in seeing that, it is February 25th at 2:15 in the Village Church. Again, it's part of our Medical Breakthroughs and Discovery series with the Health Connection. You definitely do not want to miss this, and make sure you put your sunscreen on. Stay happy and healthy.
And now it's time for all of today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hi, and welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley, and I'm here with Caitlin Van Scoy, and we're going to go over the activities that we offer for you here today at Shell Point. We're going to start bright and early with a 7:15 Health Connections class, Bend, Breathe, and Balance. That's down in the Health Club on the island. And we have an 8 o'clock round-robin doubles tennis game going on at the Woodlands tennis courts. The Stamp Ministry will be down in the Stamp Room in the tunnel at 8:15. And at 8:30, you'll find the Ladies Golf Association down at the Shell Point Golf Club. Bocce is going to be played at the Bocce Court at the Woodlands at 9. And at 9:15, we have the Caregiver Support Group Therapy in the conference room of the Medical Center. And at 9:15, we have the Memory Care Group. They'll be in the conference room of Behavioral Health. Open painting will be down in the Art Studio at 9:15. And 9:30 is the time we have match play mixed doubles tennis at the Woodlands tennis courts. The Women's Ministries Study Group will be in the Village Church at 9:30. Our Suzy Q boat heads out to Woody's Waterfront Restaurant today at 10. You do need to sign up for those outings. And we have a 10:15 Bible study. This one is Through the Bible Study, and that's in the Osprey Room on the island. The Caregiver Support Group Therapy will be in the conference room of the Medical Center at 10:30. And also at 10:30, we have the Memory Care Group in the conference room of Behavioral Health. Our last morning activity is LifeQuest's class entitled Living Healthy. That's at 11:45. That's in the Osprey Room on the island. That's it for the morning. Here's Caitlin for your afternoon activities.
Thank you, Bev. We start at 12:30 with Mixed Progressive Bridge in the game room of the Woodlands. And then we move to 12:45 for a Health Connections class, Fitness Room Orientation. That's in the Health Club, and you do need to sign up for that class. The Knitters group will be in the Osprey Room at 1:15. And also at 1:15, the Rollicking Recorderist will be in the Tarpon Room. Another 1:15 activity is Shuffleboard at the Shuffleboard courts. And our last 1:15 activity is Women's Ministries Prayer for Missions. That's in the Hospitality Room of the Village Church. At 1:30, we have the CPAP Support Group in the Oak Room of the Woodlands. And the Stamp Ministry will also be in the Woodlands at 1:30 in the Sable Room. 2:45 is the time for Balance and Mobility Advanced in the Health Club. And at 4:15, there's another Health Connections class, Tai Chi Cha, in the Health Club, and that one is currently full. Our last Tuesday activity is a performance by Ann Tormella at 6:45 in the Village Church. No ticket is required. Well, we're so happy to see you here today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Teri Kollath with your Academy information for Tuesday. At 10 o'clock, we have the Salute to Shakespeare, this time comedies, in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. You can sign up right at the door. At 10:15, iPhone Apps continues in the Manatee Room on the island. And at 1 o'clock, What's the Bible All About? In the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands, and you can sign up right at the door. At 1:15, Making Labels for Your Mail List continues in the Technology Teaching Center on the island. And at 1:15, New Apple TV continues in the Manatee Room on the island. At 4:30, the Alpha Course will continue in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. And this is Tuesday. I'd like to take an opportunity to say a thank you to all of our Pavilion Auxiliary volunteers and to direct your attention to the last page of the weekly reminder if it's time for you to sign up for orientation. I'd also like to say that we have some opportunity with our carts. 2 of our carts are looking for new volunteers, the beverage cart and the library cart. You can take some cheer into the rooms on the 1st and the 3rd floor of the Larson Pavilion, along with the beverage or a library book.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is fried chicken with cheddar macaroni and broccoli. The dinner special is the carved turkey buffet for $13.95. The soup of the day is country cabbage. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a turkey club sandwich with chips for $7.75. The dinner special is your choice of a hot dog or a burger with a side salad, watermelon, and ice cream for $8.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are peach barbecue shrimp for $15.95 or marinated pork tenderloin for $15.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and I'm here with David Pavey, one of my colleagues at the Village Church on the pastoral team. And David, we're here to talk about really a special opportunity that we have to have a conference coming up beginning this coming Sunday with some very special people. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, these are Stuart and Jill Brisco.
Yes.
And they'll fit right in at Shell Point because they're more or less in my age group. Actually, they're older than I am, if truth were told. But I've known this couple for many, many years, since my youth, really. They came over to the States, as I did, and I followed their preaching and their moving around, and Nancy and I, my wife, we have gained so much from their writing and from their preaching. This is a little book that they have just put out, one of about 40.
Isn't that something?
They both read.
It makes me wonder what I've done with my life.
Well, it's amazing, just amazing. Well, Stuart is a great Bible teacher. Very practically oriented, and as I said, he has the gift of common sense, so he helps us to put the rubber on the road. And Jill was a Cambridge graduate. She is a very gifted communicator.
Indeed.
And she tells wonderful stories and touches people's hearts. This couple has been a huge help to our mission that I worked with over the years, international teams, speaking at several of our conferences. And then when we were in ministry in the UK, they stayed in our home for a few days. And it has taken us 3 years to find a date that fitted them and fitted us. So we're really thrilled to have them here. And for Nancy and me, it's just a huge joy. I'm really excited about the weekend.
And the name of the conference that we're having is?
Improving with Age,
That's
which
right.
is the name of the book.
By golly, they have a book about that by that same title.
Wouldn't you know, there's some great chapter titles in here. Let me read one or two. Let me see. The Funny Side. Mm-hmm. Age happens, and you can't stop it. Mm-hmm. Renewed day by day. That sounds good. Productive leisure. The joy of reading. Grumpy old men. Yeah. Anyway, Stuart will be speaking Sunday morning on the 20th, and his wife Jill in the evening. Mm-hmm. Stuart will speak Monday evening and Jill Tuesday evening. The evenings are at 6:15 on the Sunday and 7:15 on the Monday and Tuesday. We'll have a number of these books for sale, by the way. Yeah. They're not here to sell books, but since this is the subject of their lectures, I know it's going to be very tempting for people to want to have a copy and be able to look at it when their heads are relaxed, as the French like to say.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Yes.
So that's that weekend.
Yeah. Well, I'm thrilled to death as well because I've known about them for a long time. Had a chance to hear him. Stuart was at one of the Christian and Missionary Alliance General Councils years ago. Really? It was probably 20 years ago, something like that. One of the first ones that I attended, I believe. And the thing that's remarkable about that is that of all the speakers over the times that I've gone to conferences like that, I still remember what he spoke about. And that's really unusual to remember, almost to the outline of the things that he had in a series of about 3 messages. So I'm delighted to have them join our Shell Point community for this conference. And I know that you are especially delighted because of your personal connection with them. But we hope that you're delighted as well and that you'll join us for Improving with Age starting this Sunday at 10:15 in the morning service, 6:15 in the evening service, and then 7:15 on the 2 subsequent evenings, Monday and Tuesday. See you soon.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Shell Point Today. On tomorrow's show, we will learn about a Shell Point couple who joined the ranks of the elite few who have stayed at Windsor Castle in Great Britain. But not only did they stay there, they were special guests due to a special friendship. Also tomorrow, we will learn about a Coffee with a Neighbor event entitled Smooth Sailing, where a couple will share their memories of living at sea. Until then, this has been Shell Point Today for Tuesday, February 16th. I'm Adam Brown, thanking you for choosing to spend your time with us. See you next time.